Why am I over here?
Oh, because I'm sharing screen. Let me do that. There we
Okay.
go. Okay.
What am I doing on your slides?
So, yeah, basically just doing sort of a revised version of this. Also wanted to just introduce myself. So again, my name is Justine. I am a PhD student in the social ecology core program, where I mainly do research in digital mental health and emerging adults in Asian communities. I'm interested in looking at things like digital mental health apps, social media, online peer support, things like that. And I'm also currently working with Asian Mental Health Collective. I also just started working with the Upswing Fund for Adolescent Mental Health, as well as doing some data analytics for a tech company. They're a tech research firm called Latitude. So yeah, and then I also presented at the Mental Health Youth Action Forum at the White House, which was in May. And generally, I'm just really passionate about enhancing resources and access to mental health services. And I really do believe that technology is sort of that gateway to increase access. And I think social media is a really powerful tool, as someone that is a content creator, to be able to spread the word about anything that you're really interested in and build community. So yeah. And then also would love to ask who all of you are, and if anyone wanted to start going around. And then the bottom question is just sort of something to think about while you're doing advocacy work and incorporating technology into there. And that's something that we want to consider whenever we're doing anything on social media, is like, well, what are the benefits and the drawbacks of using technology, and like, how do we mitigate those? So for example, when I think about social media, I think a lot about the social comparison that we have to people. So like thinking about like, how is your account changing that narrative, and how are you making sure that you don't contribute to those drawbacks? So yeah, I mean, I guess I guess Janeane, if you wanted to start.
Sure. So I'm Janeane Bernstein. I go by she and her. I am not a faculty member. I'm a community member. I've been with the campus station since 2007, KUCI, but I've also become a guest speaker for a lot of different classes at UCI, WISE-PAC, Dr. Schuler's classes, Dr. Allison Zalta, Dimitri Zuckerman. And I actually majored in communications and education, and I'm so passionate about mental health, especially for students.
Awesome. Yeah. Should we use like a popcorn if you wanted to popcorn off to someone?
Sure. How about June?
My name is Jin Hong, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a student at UCI, and I'm majoring in criminology with a minor in digital information systems, and I'm super passionate about like digital trends, in like every single scope, how the digital world makes us tick and how we make the digital world tick. Like that's the relationship I'm super interested in. And then I guess I'll popcorn it to Anne.
Hi. Hello?
Hi.
Hi. My name is Anne. I go by she and her. I'm a student and I major in criminology and a minor in psychological sciences. And as for my passions, I'm more of like, it's more like a hobby. I just like gaming, but yeah.
Awesome.
And then
Hi, my name is Shafreen. I also use she, her pronouns. I'm a fourth year student at UCI, and my major is psychological sciences. As for my passion, I'm not exactly sure. I would say I can't really narrow it down. But yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So also just wanted to dive straight into here. I know that this slide has a lot of words on it, but I mean, feel free to like screenshot or like take a picture or whatever, and I can go ahead and send the slide deck out to you all after. But this is sort of something that's going to be like a breakdown and something that you can continue to revisit as you strategize and as you produce content. So I have 2 examples here. I can go ahead and open it. So this is, oops, let's see if I can do this. Okay. Okay, I don't know why it says that.
Sorry.
Give me 1 second.
While she's opening, I'm excited to have all of you as interns. This is going to be great. There's a few people missing. I think it's 6 of you total. 1, 2, 3.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, that's super exciting. So this is an example of a mental health content creator. And this is sort of what I'd like to have as an example because of the fact that she uses a lot of the strategies that I'm going to talk about. If you look at her feed, it's a lot of text, a lot of things that draw people in. She's using a lot of trending sounds. She's also making sure that she has something that sort of adds value, and whether that's even something that's like funny or it's something that is creative, but every single video that she has a hook, and if you notice, every single one has text in it. So that's a pretty common thing that she does. Let's see if we can click on one. So
killer, West Side killer.
So, watch another one.
So wait, she's doing 2 things. It's trending audio, and she's
Yes.
using some kind of captcha and then the text.
Yes, so she has like an immediate hook, and that's something that I'm going to talk about a little bit more. So just sort of giving like an overview of these accounts that you can also like follow and continue to emulate. You can also use like sounds that she's used that seem to be successful. So let's say this one, she has like around 20,000 views. Then you can save this sound that she's using.
Well, you know it. Well, you know it. Well, you know it.
You obviously don't have to dance.
Well, you know it. Well, you know it.
But yeah.
Well, you know it.
So that's one strategy, and probably like the easiest strategy is really just going in and seeing someone that's doing, or a few accounts that are doing similar things to you, and then making sure that you keep track of their audios, make sure to always have text in your videos that you produce. And yeah, so let's go back, and then I'll show you what that also looks like on something like TikTok. And TikTok is very similar to something like Reels. So one thing to also note is that generally the trend is that sounds that go viral on TikTok have around 2 months to go viral on Instagram. So if you get to a sound that's going early viral on TikTok and you get on Instagram first, usually that's one strategy that people use because you're one of the first people that are on that sound. So when that sound does go viral, then your video gets more views. So this is actually someone I worked with at the Mental Health Youth Action Forum. I still keep in contact with him. He's really great. And he has tons of success through TikTok. So one example is here.
Bang, bang, choo choo train. Let me see you do your thing. Bounce, 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 bounce. Bang, bang, choo choo train. Let me see you do your.
So yeah, that's sort of one example of it on TikTok. And so I wanted to reiterate that strategizing is key, and wanted to make sure that I went over all these strategies after you've seen those examples. So one thing is looking at your metrics. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with how to check out your metrics, but I can definitely show you how to. I don't think that it actually allows me to in the same way that it would on a cell phone. But you would basically go into Instagram. Let's see if I can do it actually. Not sure. Yeah, it doesn't give you the same capabilities online as it would on your phone. But basically, your metrics are something that are in your account. I can actually stop sharing and kind of show you what it looks like through my phone. Let me do that really quick, because I think that this is just something that's really important. So when you open Instagram, I'll actually show you the business account that I run. So I also run an account for a small business called Friendly Donuts. And so if you have a business account, then your account might look more similar to this. So this is what the account looks like. Oops, there's a green screen. But let me try to get rid of that really quick. Give me 1 second.
But the account is Friendly Donuts on Instagram, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Friendly Donuts.
Maybe I'll just do this. There we go. Okay, nope. So if you look at their account, this is what it is. And then you have a bunch of different tools that are right at the bottom over here, right? You have like your editing profile, ad tools, those are at like where you do, you can look at ads and like sort of the analysis on that and the breakdown of how those are performing. But what you're really going to want to look at is the insights, which is right over here. So you're going to click on insights. Sometimes that's placed differently depending on your account. Sometimes that might be like over like here. Let me go back. Oops.
Wait, how did you get to insights? Because I pulled up Instagram to look at the Friendly Donuts.
That's, you can't see it unless you own the account.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, this is only for like if you own the account. So, but usually it's somewhere over here where you can see your insights.
I see.
So I'll go into insights.
Okay.
And then it'll show you an overview of like accounts reached, accounts engaged, total followers, how much you've grown, and then also content that you've shared. So for this, I usually just like to tell people, like, as long as you're in the green or you're losing very little, then like you're totally fine. And then if you're not in the green, then you can reassess how to change your strategies. So this is like content that they've shared, stories, reels, and active ads that are happening. And one thing that I really like to look at is the content that you've shared. So let's say if we clicked on that, we could see which content did really well. So like this is like sort of the top performing. And what is it about that content that does really well? And one thing that I noticed while looking here is that the content that does really well is the stuff that provides information. So like this, for example, it's not just like posting out just a plain picture or whatever and then saying like donuts. It's like this provides information to people. It tells people what the mochi flavors are of the month. And then if you go back to insights, oops. Then you can go back to your posts. And then like see like this is announcing like a new donut that they have, like a new specialty donut. And that was really like well performing. And especially wanted to talk about reels, because reels have been like, if you want to grow. So one thing I like to say is like static posts, which are basically just the plain pictures. That's what we call them, static posts, are the things for your already existing followers. But the reels posts are the things that you do to get new followers, because they're the things that Instagram are pushing out into other people's like algorithms. So other people likely, or other people that don't follow you are more likely to see your reels than they are to see your pictures. So these are our reels, like sort of our top performing ones. And one thing that I'll like have you look at is that the reels that perform really well are very fast paced. So you have to get their attention within the first couple of seconds. And so if you have one really long video, usually it's not going to be as great as if you have something constantly switching up, or you have text that they have to read. So for example, if we look here at our top performing video, this is what it looks like. So if you notice within the first couple of seconds, we're like switching scenes immediately. So immediately getting people's attention, asking them to sort of watch more. Let's see. And I can also look at like my personal account as well, because I personally use more text-based things. So they don't use as much text in it because they don't have as much like information to provide there versus like in their static posts where they really want the people that already follow them to see like, this is the new donut that we have. So if I go to my personal account, see insights, into reels. So like one example is I do like fashion content and like beauty lifestyle content. That's what I do. So like, let's just say like, we'll go to this one. Like, this is just things that I bought, like shopping things. And like immediately within the first couple of seconds, getting their attention, having text on there that people can look at, and like just making sure that you are really hooking them in. So that's a little bit of that. I'll go back to my pretty background instead of my ugly one, but that is pretty much it for like how to look at insights. But I still wanted to go back to that strategy slide. Let me exit out of here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm not. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. But anyways, gonna go back to sharing my screen and continue to talk about strategizing, but just wanted to also show you all that so that when I talk about these strategies, you know exactly where to find them. So we're gonna go back to our strategy page. So looking at your metrics, again, something that's really important. And then also finding trending audio. I mentioned how I find trending audio. I look at audio from videos that I see performing really well. And when those videos perform really well and the audio seems to work out, then I'll put it on my thing. And you want to find up and coming audio. So when you click on the audio to use, it'll usually tell you how many uses it has. And so preferably before 10,000 uses is great. I think that you should do anything like between like 8 to 10,000 is a sweet spot. So that means that 8 to 10,000 people have used that audio. It means that it's up and coming, but you don't want to use audio necessarily that has like 200 uses. You want to go in that like 8 to 10 range, ideally. But I know that doesn't always come up and you don't always see that. So below 40,000 is also okay if it's a fast growing trend. And obviously there are places where this is okay to like, it's okay to be flexible here. So for example, I don't know if you all are on TikTok and you've heard that like corn sound, like the kid that's singing like it's corn, like he's singing a song about corn. If you've seen that it's grown like overnight to like 100,000 uses, like by all means go ahead and use that, because you want to hop on those trends and show that you are able to keep up with those trends that are going on. So that is flexible, but sort of like on the day-to-day, finding audio that's sort of that sweet spot between 8 to 10,000 uses is ideal, but obviously knowing that that isn't always going to happen. So yeah, and then I mentioned also focusing on more video content and making sure that we're also acknowledging that like socials are pushing out video content more than they are photo content. So how many times have we gone on like our Instagram reels and found accounts that we would have never found otherwise, you know? We don't really go on our explore page as much and look at photos. We're looking more at reels than we are at pictures, really, at least for finding new accounts. So that's something to also keep in mind, but also making sure that, you know, we're still putting out those static photos, because we're also still making sure to engage the followers that we already have. And so we do want to still put out those things, but making sure like to post more of those reels. So one example that I said is like a really aggressive like Instagram account might put 3 reels per week and 2 static posts per week. That's something that I use in like the accounts that I run. But of course, like we can always like be flexible on that. You could do like 2 reels per week and then 1 like static post per week. So making sure that you have sort of like a schedule for yourself to make sure that you're putting out more reels content than you are static posts. And again, like I mentioned before, having a hook. So you have you have to get people's attention within those first 2 seconds, whether that's through quick transitions, text, or whether that's through using like pretty colors and aesthetics that people continue to want to watch. And also finding accounts and following them that you would want to emulate, like the accounts that I showed you over here, with like the Shani project and then Jorge, finding accounts that you'd want to emulate, saving their audios and saving their ideas that inspire you. Obviously, you don't want to copy their content. So you want to make sure, like, let's say if you're using audio that they are using, you're not putting the exact same text and the exact same video in. You're, you know, creating your own video really, but you're just using that same audio. Or you see, like, for example, Jorge put like journaling prompts. You might want to do something that's journaling prompts also, not the same thing, but like journaling prompts for this community. Like, for example, the Asian community, like journaling prompts for Asian folks, like thinking through things that are like culturally relevant to that group. So you could do something creative like that, and finding the things that inspire you, but also inspire you to create your own ideas. And so I know that Janeane went over this a little bit in the beginning, but there are posts that you can also use to introduce yourselves. It sets the tone to make sure that your account is really personal. You also want to make your followers feel like your friends. And I don't know if I mentioned that here as well. Oh, yes. The last thing was also engaging with your followers. So making sure that you're putting out content that makes it feel like your followers and you are friends with each other. Like you guys are relatable. You can put stuff on your story as well, like polls, things like that, starting conversations, really building a community. You can do like an ask me a question thing, where they can ask you questions and you can like talk about things. And just making sure to create that open space where your followers feel like they can talk to you, or they can message you about things if they find things on your account that are interesting. And so these posts, which Janeane mentioned, would be really helpful because I think that they'd set the tone a lot for how you want your, or the tone that you'd want to set for your account in terms of like being friends with each other. So like, this is the Bloom Foundation. And this was the post that Janeane had sent me, where it's basically just a picture of you, and then also having like a little bit of like a meet you. And then like you can put a fun quote, you can put a little bit about yourself. I think that you should create like a structure though, where each of you as interns do this in a way that's similar. So you don't want to like have one person that has a quote and then the other person has like, this is like bullet points about me. So that's up to you all. That's up to you to decide if you want to just do a quote. You could do something like this, like your favorite quotes, and then you could have like more information about yourself in the description over here. And then of course you all can like engage with each other. So yeah. And I'm going to show you all how they did this. For like sort of your information, you might have heard of Canva, but just going to do like a quick walkthrough. So basically I talked to Janeane, and this will be sort of like your first task. So this is going to be like the first thing that you do to set the tone, introduce yourself, make your followers feel like they're your friends, and then go in, produce those reels, produce that content. So I'm going to show you all how to do that through Canva, and Canva is a really great place to just get creative, create engaging text in your static posts. And yeah, and also wanted to reiterate before I hop onto Canva, making sure to be colorful and try to follow a theme. And what you could all do as a first task is even like creating templates for you all to use, so you all use the same templates. So like, let me go back to the Bloom Foundation, for example. So if you look at them, oops, open them again. They seem to have like a really pink theme. So it seems like their theme is really like pink. Even here, there's still like hints of like bright colors. Just, yeah, really bright, really airy. Nothing like really like black and white. There's no black and white pictures here, you know. And when you look at each of their like sort of meets the intern things, they look exactly the same, right? They follow the same template. So if you all want, the initial thing that you could do is you could create a template for you all to use to make sure that you're consistent. And that's really something that's so important with social media, is consistency, because you want to make sure that the people that follow you know what to expect, and they know that they're following you for a reason to see these things. You know that they if they saw your reels, for example, and they loved it, then you want to create content that is similar to that, because it's like, why would you want to follow an account for a specific thing and then not get that thing? So these are all created through Canva too. I can pretty much already tell. Like this was created through Canva. And they also utilize reels as well. So these are their reels. And if you look at the thing that's interesting, and that's something that I've noticed that I've been doing with these accounts, is like, I'll look at their best performing videos and like what makes that stand out from their other videos. So if you look, this video really stood out. And because there was a call to action and it had something that really hooked people in, which is right at the first slide, it's repeat these affirmations when you feel discouraged. That's like an immediate hook. And so looking at like what differentiates that reel from other things, that hook was like really immediate versus like, let's say something like this, which is obviously great.
I'm a teen teacher here with Uplift. I'm super excited to let you guys know about an event that the teen teachers and I will be leading a yoga sequence at. It's
so within the first 2 seconds, like you were hooked in here, you know, like you were hooked into, you know, repeat these affirmations. And so one thing that I would personally revise with something like this is if you wanted to do a talking video, making sure that you have a lot of like transitions. So it's like you say, hey, everyone, we have an event coming up today within the first couple of seconds. And then you can go into like sort of like transitioning. So like when I say transition, I don't mean like you have to have anything like crazy. I just mean like splicing it so that like if you look at Friendly Donuts again.
Wait, so it could just be her not on camera, but talking, and then you see yoga.
Yeah, it could be that as well.
Okay.
Yes. But if you look at what I mean by like having a video that's like just one long video, that usually doesn't do as well.
Yeah.
As something that's constantly changing, something where it's like you have an immediate text in it or a quick transition. And this is what I mean by quick transition is see how the video changes within the first like 2 seconds. It's like, this is the first second, boom, like next slide or next like scene. So that's what I mean. If you wanted to have a video of yourself talking, that's totally fine. But I think that making it quick like that, like, so I can even go on like Jorge's account again, because he does do this where he talks at the camera, but he does like really quick hooks, things like that. So let's see here.
Burnout in the Latino community, what's the correlation? Everything. Raise your hands if you've ever witnessed your parents working their butts off to the point that they're physically, mentally exhausted.
How do you have another image of a person on your screen? I know how to do that.
Oh, like a GIF?
Yeah.
If you've ever witnessed your parents.
That's all it is a GIF. It's not like.
Yeah. So you can put stickers in the videos when you create a video on TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see how like within the
Burnout
first
in the
2
Latino
seconds,
community.
he immediately has text there and he switches the scene. So he goes from here.
What's the correlation? Everything.
Here.
Raise
If you notice, like, even like while
your
he's
hands if you've
talking,
ever witnessed your parents working their butts off to the point that they're physically, mentally.
like even just that, where he changed it, like where your parents are
the point
working
that they're
their butts
physically,
off,
mentally
and then,
exhausted,
like,
or
he
maybe
goes
project
into this-
onto you. But despite all that, they keep on working. And even when they're home and maybe have the opportunity to take 10 minutes for themselves, they find something to do. I need way more hands because this was a regular experience for me. Well, I recently graduated undergrad, and in hindsight.
So do you see what I mean? When it's like you can talk at the camera, but you have to be engaging.
The Latino community.
You have to have like text there within those first couple of seconds. You have to get people to want to continue watching.
Yeah.
And even just like I mentioned, splicing the video from here.
What's the correlation?
Here.
Everything. Raise your hands
That's
if you've
already like a transition that like is a strategy versus something like
Alec, we'll get to your question. Hold on.
oh yeah, sorry, I like cannot see the
No.
question, but yes, I definitely will get there versus something like this where it's just one longer video. She could have had text here. She could have also like sort of spliced the video to be like, hey, like if you want to learn yoga, like keep listening.
She could
And
have been
then-
in a yoga position.
Yes, that
Right.
too.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely like ways that we could like improve. And then there was like a question. Sorry, let me double check the chat.
Oh, is it better to have a shorter video than to the point?
It depends on the content. So I say like shorter videos, longer videos, it's fine to like mix it up. But knowing that like within those first few seconds, you have to get their attention. And the reason why is because, to be honest, on videos, people have shorter attention spans. And so having a short video is really great for a few reasons. One reason is that it makes people replay it. So like if you have a video that's only like 3 or 4 seconds long, people kind of like will usually accidentally replay it, or they'll replay the video because it's so short. Versus when you have a longer video, people have more of a tendency to exit out. So there's sort of a sweet spot, because I do also want to reiterate that you still want to have like good information in your video and make it interesting. And especially with something like mental health, you want to be able to provide that information, and you can't provide that information in 4 seconds, you know? And so I'm going to go back to Jorge, because I think that he does a great job at mixing it up,
Yeah.
where those short videos are important to get people's attention, but you still want to have those longer videos where you actually provide a lot of like a lot of value. So let me see if I can figure out like a shorter video. Oh yeah, this one's like a little funnier one.
It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. Fuck them.
Okay, yeah, there's like a cuss word there, but yeah, like it's a really short video, got their attention. Like short videos like that are really effective. But I think it's also effective to do longer ones that provide information, and there's some added value there. And even those still appeal to the fact that people do have short attention spans. So like, again, within the first few seconds, you know,
Bang, bang, choo choo train. Let me see
this
you
is
do
just a
your
little shorter
thing.
one
This is so good.
earlier. Yeah.
Bounce, bounce, bounce.
Yeah. Again, that also causes screenshot thing is also something that I've seen a lot of people doing, because I think that it makes people watch the video for longer because they want to pause it,
Yeah.
you know, like there's actually something for them to do. So like there's an action step, like they have to pause it to screenshot. So it sort of involves your audience there. But yeah, that was definitely a really good question. So like, long story short, I'd say to definitely mix it up, have those short things where you can kind of capture people's attention, but still have those longer things where you make sure that you're also providing added value to people. So yeah, like a lot of his stuff is like longer. There's still some shorter stuff. So like shorter videos, also totally fine. So yeah, I'd say that like using a mix of it is important, because it's still important to keep your followers engaged by seeing different things all around like sort of a similar theme. So his theme is like mental health and being like Latino, Gen Zer, I don't know if that's the word, but like it's all about like embracing identity. So that's like the general theme, but he does that in a lot of different ways to keep his followers engaged and to make sure that they're seeing something different every day. So yeah. And then I'm gonna go into Canva now. Let me.
Oh, how long should those be? I mean, those are what, 10 seconds?
Yeah, probably around 10 seconds.
Okay.
I'd say like 10 seconds or less for the short ones, but the longer ones,
Bang, bang, choo choo
you can have
train.
something longer. Let me see how long this is.
That one's so good. Well, no wonder.
Burnout in the Latino community, what's
See,
the
this one's, like,
correlation?
longer.
Everything. Raise your hands if you've ever witnessed your parents working their
Those ones
butts
I'd
off
say
to the point that they're
having something for,
physically
like 2 minutes is like pretty sufficient. Like 1 to 2 minutes, that's considered longer.
Mhm.
10 seconds or less, it's considered a shorter one. This is one of his longer ones. Also, if you look at like the comments, you can reply to people through the comments. And it makes it like, I think that one thing that also differentiates his account is that he like really engages with everyone, and has a conversation with the people that are here. And I think that especially with something with mental health that's so vulnerable, people in the comments tend to really start conversations with each other. Like, you know, like if people like are replying here, and then people over here are replying, like it's really like building a community. So yeah, I also wanted to like reiterate that, but this is also a space for you to build community with your followers. So first of all, I'll just go back here really quick. Are there any other questions?
How many posts should we do a day on this account on Outside the Box?
I would say that ideally the strategy that I use that's worked for the accounts that I run are 3 reels and 2 static posts per week. But I understand that that is like a lot, but I think that if we like divvied it up so that like
Right.
each person in like an internship does like 1 reel per week,
That's doable.
that would be totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like 1 reel per week, and then like maybe like you could do like divvy it up so that like you each switch between like doing 2 static posts per week. So like let's just say like how many interns do we have here? Is it 3?
Well, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. I think it's going to be 5 total.
Oh, that's definitely like, that is actually a really great number, because what you could do is you could have 3 of those interns per week doing a reel, and then 2 of them doing a static post
Oh yeah.
each week,
And
then
switch.
switch it off. Yeah, and then sort of just switch that off. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And even the one example you showed us at the beginning, they don't have to put a quote. They could do like the top 3 things I do to take care of myself when I'm having a bad day, or not that long.
Oh yeah, something
You know what I
like
mean?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could also do something that's like really engaging as well, like something like that, and then you could ask your followers like to like in the comments, you know, like, does anyone else use these similar things, and like what are your thoughts there?
Yes.
So like let's say if someone does knitting, like does anyone else knit? Like you can
Yes.
say that in the caption.
Okay.
And like really build community there, so that people that knit are like, oh, like there's this person that also does knitting as like sort of their relaxation technique. And then like that could even be something where you form your own identity in there. Like I've seen people that will do like mental health talks and they'll do something relaxing in the background. Like let's just say you introduced yourself and you said, I really love knitting, and then you did your reel for that week, and your reel was just you knitting and you putting text on there and like some sort of a voiceover saying like, sometimes like we need to slow down and relax, or does anyone feel like this is happening, like especially this week, or like even something like back to school, like let's just say you're knitting and then you have text on there that says like, let's take a moment to slow down, being back to school can be really frustrating, it can be really overwhelming, like something like that, where you can also like integrate your own identity into your reels and like make sure that your followers see themselves in it. So also just want to emphasize that, yeah, like embracing your own identity is so important, and making sure that your followers can relate to you is so important. So you can have yourself in there, and you can like be doing something like gaming, for example, like with gaming, you could do something where like you take a video of yourself. Like I know that a lot of people have really cool gaming setups. So like you could take a video of yourself like on the keyboard, like, you know, those keyboard videos. I don't know if all of you have seen those, the relaxing keyboard videos.
No.
You haven't. All right.
Can you pull it up?
Yes, I definitely can't find it.
Hey!
Let's see. This is my For You page. Keyboard typing. So like, let's just say if you're a gamer, I'm just gonna try to find something that has something else along with it. So like, let's just say this. So like imagine like having a relaxing video like that, and then you have text over it about like slowing down, making sure that you create a comfortable environment for yourself, like how important that is. So like let's just say you had this. If I saw this, I'd say like one really good text overlay for this is creating an environment that puts you like at peace. And that's like a mental health strategy, right? Is like making sure that you're manipulating your environment so that like you better yourself. So like one example is like how she has plants and stuff, like she has her keyboard. you could do something like this, like as someone that does gaming, and you could say like, you know, something about like making sure that you love the environment that you're in and your home, for your mental health, and then sort of just add in your own text there. So that's what I mean about integrating your identity into here. Is just like, I know that keyboard TikTok has been like a really big thing. And like you could even do that like with literally like anything. You could have like an ASMR type thing where like in the background you have, hold on, let me go back to this video. Like you have a video of just you clicking away, because it is a relaxing sound, right? So you just have your clicking, and then you can have literally any text. Like it could be something as random as like back to school. I'll use that same example. Like back to school can be really overwhelming. Sometimes we need to take the time to slow down. Something like that, where like your text is the hook. Like you have text as a hook, and then you're relaxing, like, right, you have the ASMR, like relaxing keyboard clicking sound. But yeah, I mean, like, that's what I mean by like, yeah, integrating your own identity, and yeah, just making sure that you like see yourself in your posts, and that your followers also see themselves. So does anyone have any? I'll pause for questions if anyone has any before I move on to like Canva. Okay, cool. So gonna move on to showing you how to use Canva for like your static posts. So Canva is like this platform. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but it's basically a platform for creating like designs and like visuals, especially with like text. So I might just like log in really quick. I'll log into like with Google. So this is totally free, but one way like that you can sort of create engaging posts, like for example, this one, again, going back to like what we're talking about, which is having a picture of yourself and then having like a meet and then your name and then like 3 bullet points about yourself. Just make sure that when you guys do this, you're all using the same one, just for like consistency. But then of course, when you create static posts throughout, like you can always do it with like different things. So I'll show you what I mean. So all of these posts where you're introducing yourself have the same template, right? But that doesn't mean that the same template is in every single thing. Like you have this, you can do that on Canva also. I haven't really experienced, or I don't have as much experience with that, but, or you can do this on Canva. So like it looks different, but there's like theme colors. And so that's one thing I also want you all to identify is what are the theme colors for your page. Like this is like usually pink, and like bright things. So whenever they do anything on Canva, they always have pink in there. Even if it's just the logo, pink, pink here, that's like their theme. Even like this, even this, like the paintbrushes are pink, you know? So like just come up with like some sort of a theme color that you'd want to have in every single one of your Canva posts. But that doesn't have to, like, that doesn't mean that every single one should be exactly the same. I just mean that you need to have the same template if you're doing some sort of like a series. So like this is a series, like an introduction series. If it's a series, they should all be the same. But if it's just your regular static posts, you can just have some sort of a theme color. So let's go back into Canva. You can even use a template here. So if we go to templates, this makes it super easy. You could do something like, let's see, Instagram posts. This is perfect. So you go into Instagram posts, see all. And if you liked something like this, you could all do something like that. So let's just say we're going to do something like this. And we're going to say, meet Justine. Put that up here. Oops. And then this would be where your text is. So 3 bullet points about me are Let's actually do this. This looks better if it's this way. So when we do bullets, always making sure that it's like to the left. So I love to go on walks in my free time. What else do I do for my mental health? I love reading. And I love watching Netflix.
And you like
And-
coffee.
Yes, I do love coffee. That's true. I do coffee content as well, by the way.
Yes, you
guys.
do.
Like,
It's
I
cute.
do a lot of coffee content. I love going to cafes. There we are. Going to cafes. I know, and I also always get like followers that ask me for like cafe recommendations, or I love when I like have people that like are visiting Orange County and like they like will message me and say like, I'm going to Orange County for the first time. Like, what should I like visit? So yeah, I mean, that might be what it looks like. I might make it more centered so that it's like, it doesn't look like there's a bunch of empty space. You don't want a ton of empty space either. So just say it's like right in the center here.
Now, do you think that's too light as far as pink?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
mean, I think that this is like a good shade. I actually do think that like if you're gonna use like a color like pink or even blue, your theme should really be pastel.
Okay.
Like it should be light, because light things usually are like easy on the eyes.
Soothing.
I think
Yeah.
like these things, like yes, they're like cool,
Yeah.
but like I do think that those things are more of like business. Like that says
Yes.
business to me
Yeah.
versus something like this, which is more like relaxing.
Yes.
So it reset this, but yeah, or even like this over here. Let's see, oops, screen froze. Oh no. Okay, my keyboard's going crazy. But let's just say went over here. Oops. Sorry, it takes a while. I think it's gonna like. It won't change the theme. Okay, well, anyways, like it doesn't want to change the theme for me, I guess. But yeah, that would like pretty much be the gist of how to use Canva. You can use a pre-existing template. You can also like create your own. But yeah, and I'll go back here soon. Or actually, I'll go back to the presentation because I do have.
Justine, your battery is at 18%.
Oh yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay,
I like
good.
just got this iPad, so usually
Okay.
18% will last me like a half an hour still.
Okay, I didn't want to lose you.
Oh yeah, no, you're good.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I do also have a conceptual framework here, but I don't think it's really necessary to go through. It's more of something that I can just send to you. And it's just something to keep in mind for like your why. Like, what are the things that you want to drive your content? So like, what is it that you want your content to do? Like, let's say you produce something, like, do you want to organize collective action? Do you want to raise awareness? Do you want to raise funds? Do you want to communicate with decision makers? Things like that. And this is just something that you all can do on your own. And this is something that really depends on each account. So it's like really creating an intentional strategy plan. And that's something that you might want to use beforehand, or you might want to reference like beforehand, like before you post something. So identifying who your audience is, identifying like what they're using. They're using Instagram and TikTok if they're Gen Z. And then planning how you'll use these tools. We already sort of like worked through that a little bit, right? Where we do 3 reels per week and then 2 static posts. And then also making sure that there's some sort of value in there, like whether that's like your text saying like, or reminding people to just relax, things like that. And like analyzing effectiveness, already showed you all how to look at the insights. And then also like continuously updating your content, getting fresh new ideas. You know, I mentioned finding accounts to like emulate, finding accounts that inspire you. That's one strategy that I personally really love, but it definitely is up to you all. And I also wanted to like reiterate that like there are certain things as well when it comes to posting that are important to think about. So like one of those things is, and I'll stop sharing my screen for this. But one of those things is really like making sure that you don't post, for example, past 9 p.m. Because your audience is either going to be getting ready for the next day, they might be going to sleep. You'll reach a much smaller audience. You might reach your friends that way, right? Because like if we're all college students, we're probably on our phones after 9 p.m. And that's probably the time that we all are on our phones. But if you want to reach a broader audience, you don't want to post after 9 p.m. because like folks that have jobs, for example, might not be awake at 9 or might be getting ready to go to sleep, might be sleeping already. So like let's say you post something at 11 p.m. You might reach people that might be your friends, but you're not going to reach people that, you know, have a working job or that are busy and like do other things outside of like going on Instagram. So yeah, just making sure that you're really intentional about that. I personally like to follow this rule of like 12, 3, 6. So if I'm going to post, I usually will post 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m. Or relatively somewhere in there. So if I'm doing 6 p.m., sometimes I'll just decide like I feel like posting at like 4 or 5. I usually say that like a couple of hours of leeway is fine, because usually your video will get on people's like For You pages or on their Explore pages after 2 hours. So especially at 6 p.m., I might do something like 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. Or like I might do something at 3 or 2 p.m. But the 12, 3, 6 rule is just sort of to make sure that like my target is always going to be the people that are on there around that time. So you can like, it's obviously flexible, like I said. And then there's also a question. I wouldn't say it matters that it's scheduled on the same time every day. It's okay to post at different times during the day. It actually might be helpful because you might be reaching different audiences at those times. So like, let's say on Monday, you're posting at 12 p.m. and then on Friday, you're posting at 3 p.m. You might be reaching like broader audiences as well. Like the people that like would normally be on Instagram at 12 p.m. might not normally be there at 6 p.m. So yeah, I do think that it's like important to have like broad ranges of times. One thing that I also will say is that for me personally, and like this is something you should all test out. So for the first couple of weeks, you should just like test out like, what does it look like if I post on a Monday? And like, what does it look like if I post on a Saturday? But for me personally, for both of the accounts that I've managed, Reels have not performed as well on Saturdays. And I think that the reason why is because Saturdays are the days that people are going out and doing things, versus like being glued to their phone. Like they usually have something like fun to do. So that was really surprising for me, but it could be different based on like your niche and based on like what you're putting out there. So I will say to like test that out. Try putting a post out on Saturday and then try putting a post out on Monday your first week, seeing how those perform and like figuring out which days are best for you to post. So like when I showed you the metrics, the reason why it's important to also look at them is because like you want to be able to change your strategy over time. So like let's just say like for the month, for some reason, your posts that have been on the weekdays have performed really well. Then maybe you want to change your strategy the next month and have only posts that are on the weekdays. Or like let's just say like for some reason Wednesday is always a slow day for putting out content. Like your posts have like consistently not performed on Wednesdays. Then maybe the next month you choose to avoid Wednesdays. When we're looking at our metrics, we need to constantly be ourselves over time. So yeah, I mean, like that's pretty much all I have.
That was
like,
great. For some reason, our internet is a little choppy. Does anybody have questions?
Sorry.
Can they reach out to you if they have any questions? You can.
Yes, absolutely. I will like type in my email.
Okay.
So this is my email.
Because ideally, I would like the interns to collaborate amongst themselves and then every week switch up roles and what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely think that that could be like really great.
Mhm.
One way that you could also do it is like, I'm thinking that Reels will take up more time than static posts.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing something on Canva. But if you're like but if reels are taking up more time, then maybe the two people that are doing the static post can also do a quick run through of the metrics.
Okay.
So like they can look at how your videos performed the month before, or the week before, and see like, and sort of reevaluate and kind of give suggestions on that. So like, for example, if they say like, hey, your video performed really well, like, let's try to make content that's similar to that the next week. I think that those people that are doing the static posts every week can sort of reevaluate. And so that might be a really great structure as well.
Great. And I recorded this, so I'm going to send everybody the video through WeTransfer. And so you'll get a copy of this if you want to go back and refer to the content, rewatch any part of this.
Awesome.
This was
Well,
great.
like, I hope this was helpful for you all. And like really looking forward to like seeing your posts. Also will make sure to absolutely like engage with it. And also, yeah, like one thing that I also would do is like through Canva, you can also create like a new like profile picture as well, like a new logo. That might be something also really fun to do.
Yes.
And like making sure to like keep that theme color. So like something bright. So I would do something bright, something like pastel maybe, and like create a new profile picture through there. That would also be a really great next step that I also recommend. But yeah.
That would be a great idea because I could use a logo for, you know, a branding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, okay. Well, this was awesome. This was so helpful, Justine. I really appreciate you doing this.
Of course. Thank you all. And please feel free to reach out if you have any questions at all. And really excited to see how you all move forward.
And I'm going to if you send me the slide deck, that would be really helpful because I'm going to put together like, what is the purpose of Outside the Box? Who's the target audience? Like, I think that'll help everybody putting content together.
Yeah, definitely. I can go ahead and send that to you.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks,
Perfect.
everyone.
Of course. Thank you. Bye. Have a good weekend.
Bye.